60 hours, that's the honest price of a 30-day Security Plus pass, and it's the one number almost nobody plans for. Everyone books the calendar, 30 neat days on a wall, then forgets what actually has to fill them. 2 to 3 hours of focused study every single day. And here's the loop I want you holding the whole video. There's one week inside this plan that almost everybody underbuilds, and it's the week that quietly decides pass or fail. It's not the week you'd guess.
This is Professor Erica, and I want to ground that 60 right away because it's not a scare number. The trainers who do this for a living put the fastest realistic track at 6 to 8 weeks for someone who already has Network Plus and real IT time behind them.
I'm Emma, and let me make that exact. 6 to 8 weeks at a normal 8 to 12 hours a week is roughly 60 to 90 hours of work. Fold that into 30 days and you get 2 to 3 hours a day with no days off. That's the arithmetic, not a motivational poster.
Fenrir here, and I'll take the other side before anyone gets comfortable. For a total beginner, someone brand new to IT, 30 days isn't a plan. The same trainers say 14 to 20 plus weeks for that person. Copying a 30-day timeline there is how you burn a $400 voucher.
That's fair, and it's the honest fork this whole video turns on. 30 days fits a specific person. You've touched networking or you hold Network Plus and you can protect 2 to 3 hours a day. The slower track is for a true beginner learning it all for the first time. The plan doesn't care how smart you are. It cares whether those hours actually show up.
So once you know which side of that line you're on, step 1 is almost embarrassingly simple. Book your exam date before you open a single book. A deadline on the calendar turns a vague someday into a countdown. And a countdown is what actually gets the hours done.
Okay, so before we build the map, let me ask the thing every comment section fights about. Can I really pass Security Plus in 30 days, or is that just clickbait? My read is that it's real, but only on the terms Erica just drew, and by the end you'll know exactly which side of that line you're on. So that's the deal we're making today. A real 4-week map, the honest hours behind it, and who should walk slower instead. If you want the practice side too, everything we teach has free practice quizzes waiting at certs.professorerica.com, so you can test yourself as we go. No fluff and no 9-day miracle promises, just the plan that works for the person you actually are right now. I do this out with where those hours actually belong because most people pour them into exactly the wrong domain.
This is the rule that saves the most hours. You do not study the 5 domains evenly, you study them by how much of the exam each one is worth. That single decision is the difference between busy and effective.
So where do the points actually live? Because if I only have 30 days, I want to know exactly where to point them. Studying everything equally sounds fair, but fair and effective are not the same thing here. Show me the split.
Let me put the real weights on the board, straight from the official objectives document, because the proportion lands harder than any list of numbers I could read you. Domain 4, Security Operations, is the giant at 28%. More than 1 in 4 questions come from that one chapter. It's the day-to-day blue team work, and it deserves the biggest block of your 30 days.
Domain 2 is threats, vulnerabilities, and mitigations. It's second at 22%, and it's the attacker chapter. Malware, social engineering, the network attacks. It's also the most fun to study, which helps a lot when you're grinding.
Notice what 4 and 2 add up to. Half the exam, decided by 2 domains. If your hours are tight, that's not a suggestion. It's where 2/3 of them go, and I won't apologize for it.
But wait, the biggest domains are the hardest. Isn't starting there kind of brutal on day 1?
Good instinct, and here's the fix. You learn Domain 1 first, even though it's the smallest at 12%. The CIA triad, the control types, the access models. That's the vocabulary every other domain speaks. Weak on Domain 1 and you quietly misread the other 88%.
Which is exactly why the even effort approach in red fails good people. A working network admin coasts through Domain 1 because it looks easy, then loses points on non-repudiation and control categories they never actually pinned down.
So the order is set. Learn the language in Domain 1, then pour the heavy hours into 4 and 2, and let governance and architecture ride the middle. That sequence is your whole spine before we even touch a calendar. Get that order wrong, and you burn week 1 on the hardest chapter while your foundation is still shaky.
Real quick, because this next part matters to you. If any of this is helping, tap that like button, then hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next one finds you. Both are free and take about a second, but they tell the algorithm to show this to one more person who needs it. Now, the part everyone actually came for. 30 days on a real calendar, one runway you can see all at once. It opens with week 1, the vocabulary, and builds from there.
Picture the month as one runway with a hard finish line. Day 1 at the start, exam day ringed at the end, and 4 weeks of blocks in between. That date at the end is the whole point. It's what makes the plan a plan.
Let me put the 4 weeks up as blocks, because the sizes matter. Week 1 is Domain 1, the vocabulary. Then you roll straight into Domain 2. You're front-loading the language so everything after it makes sense. Week 2, you finish threats and move into Domain 3, architecture. Zero trust, the cloud models, secure design. It's abstract, so week 2 is where you lean on the live demos in this series to make it concrete.
And this is the payoff to Liam's opening loop. Week 3 is security operations, the 28% giant, and it's the week almost everyone underbuilds. People arrive tired. The domain is huge, so they skim it. That's the quiet fail.
That's the week I would have shortchanged, honestly. It's the largest domain, and it lands right where motivation dips in the month. So week 3 gets protected, not squeezed. And wait until the next section, because there's a study trick that decides whether any of these weeks actually stick in your head.
Week 4 is governance and risk, Domain 5. And then the whole thing turns into review, full practice tests, and shoring up your weakest domains.
And guard the very end. The last 2 days are light review only, no new material. Walk in rested, not rattled.
This next part is the engine that makes 30 days actually hold. It's not how many hours you log, it's how you space them. Spaced review beats one big cram, and that's one of the most replicated findings in learning science, not an opinion.
Let me make the schedule concrete. When you learn a topic, you retouch it on a widening curve. Learn it today, then a quick review tomorrow. A few days later, you touch it again, and once more around a week out. Each pass is short, and it resets the memory before it fades.
So that's why Domain 1 from week 1 keeps showing up later. You're not moving on and forgetting it, you're revisiting it on a schedule. My read is the calendar and the spacing are really the same tool.
Right, but reading and rereading is the weak version of this. The strong version is testing yourself, which is why full practice tests belong in weeks 3 and 4, once you've loaded enough to actually measure. Recalling an answer under pressure is a completely different skill than recognizing it on a page.
And take one diagnostic test early in week 1 before you feel ready. A bad early score isn't discouraging, it's a map. It tells you which domains are already weak, so you aim your hours instead of studying blind. So my rule for the back half is simple. Hammer practice tests, and then review every single one, right down to the questions you got right by luck.
Hold on. A practice test you don't review is just expensive guessing.
That's exactly my point, so let me finish it. The score itself is noise. The value is in the review, reading why the right answer was right and why each wrong one was a trap. That's where practice tests actually teach. Every wrong answer you truly understand is a question you'll never miss again.
Here's the question I get most about this part. Should I take a full practice test on day 1 before I have studied anything?
Yes, and expect a low score, because that's the entire point. That first attempt is your baseline. You want the honest picture of your gaps on day 1, and there are free practice quizzes on our cert site built for exactly that first pass. Watch that number climb week over week, and you'll feel the plan working. That rising score is the best motivation there is because it's proof, not a pep talk.
So let's have the fight worth having, because a 30-day title makes a promise, and I want it stress-tested before anyone books a date. Fenrir thinks the speedrun is a trap dressed up as a plan. Erica thinks it's genuinely right for a certain person. Make your case, Fenrir.
Look at who actually posts the 30-day pass. Almost always someone already working in IT, reviewing material they half knew, not learning it cold. A true beginner copying that timeline isn't ambitious. They're setting up a demoralizing fail on real money. And the retention cliff is real. Cram it into 30 days, and a month later half of it has quietly evaporated.
Nearly who tastes YBA Brizamils, Diffingo for Marshit Berkios, Amdia Wools so Berkios. Is the 30-day pass basically a story that only works in hindsight?
Not a story, a missing footnote. The trainer's own numbers say 6 to 8 weeks for someone with IT footing. Compress that honestly and it's 30 days at 2 to 3 hours daily. For that person, this plan isn't hype. It's just a tighter schedule. The speed was never the magic, the hours behind it always were.
Not so fast. That only holds if they actually have the hours.
Agreed, completely. And that's the real variable. Not the calendar, the daily hours. 1 hour a day pretending to be 3 is the actual trap, not the 30-day frame itself.
So does the goal change the answer? Passing a job requirement fast feels different from building a career foundation that has to last for years.
Okay, that lands. It's not speed versus slow, it's fit. We've been arguing about two different people this whole time.
Exactly. And spaced practice is what protects the fast track from the retention cliff Fenrir worries about, because distributed review holds far better than a cram, even a well-run 30-day one.
So here's what I'd actually do, and it's a verdict, not a vibe. If you have EAT or Network Plus footing and can honestly give 2 to 3 hours a day, run the 30-day map. Weight it toward domains 4 and 2 and review on a spaced schedule. If you're a true beginner, give yourself 8 to 12 weeks instead and thank yourself later. And whichever track you pick, weight the hours the same way and space the reviews because that part never changes. The plan that fits you is the one you finish. That's the whole game. Quick version before we close. 30 days is about 60 hours, 2 to 3 a day. Learn domain 1 first, pour your hours into 4 and 2, protect week 3 and review on a spaced schedule instead of cramming. The key verse so all of it is real.
The number I'd carry out of here is week 3. Security operations is 28% of the exam and the week people quietly skim. Protect it and you protect your pass.
The first thing I do tonight is open a calendar and book the exam. Then take one diagnostic test tomorrow. A baseline score turns a vague plan into an aimed one.
And just don't be the beginner who copies a speedrunner's timeline. Match the plan to who you are. Next up, we break down how CompTIA's best, first and most wording trips people who actually knew the material.
If you've been hunting for a free and complete Security Plus course, hit like and subscribe so the next episode finds you. We're building this whole series in order, with free practice quizzes at certs.professorerica.com to study alongside it. Here's the one only you can answer. What's your exam date, and how many hours a day can you honestly give this? Drop it in the comments because that answer decides which plan actually fits you. Curiosity compounds faster than certainty. Invest in curiosity.
8.7, Liam. The room was with you the entire time. This is Professor Erica. Thanks for watching and signing off.